Selling over the phone can be one of the most challenging parts of sales. You're constantly facing rejection, and sometimes when you're not doing so well, you kind of think, are you even cut out to be a salesperson? And I know for my career when I first started, I kind of felt the same way. But over the years, as I stuck through it, got more experience and got more insights, I kind of figured out what works and what doesn't. So what I want to do in this video is share some of my best tips when it comes to selling over the phone that you can apply right away so you can start turning total strangers into paying customers. And you wanna make sure you watch this video into the end, because if you ever felt like you were not a natural in sales and it's kind of difficult for you to communicate with people effortlessly, well, I'm gonna show you some tips that will dramatically increase your success when it comes to selling over the phone, even if you are not a natural. And we're gonna help you get to the place where you want to be. What's going on, everybody? My name is Patrick Dang. If you are ready for this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you wanna see more videos like this, and let's get started. Now, the first tip I have for you when it comes to selling over the phone is to actually create an environment where you can focus. Now, this is extremely important, right? Because I know that when you're selling over the phone, sometimes if you're in an office and you got a bunch of people around you, it can feel kind of weird because it may feel like people are judging you on how you're doing on the call, or if you make a mistake, it feels like everyone's listening, and it kind of throws you off, right? So when you're doing your sales phone calls, right? And if you're working in an office, if you can also you wanna make sure you have an environment where you can focus. So that means if you're taking a sales meeting and it's a scheduled meeting, well, can you take it in a conference room where it's just you and your customer over the phone? Or if you're taking it at your desk, you wanna make sure that nobody is bothering you and nobody is coming in and trying to chat with you when you're on the phone. And if you are working from home and you're selling remotely, you wanna make sure you are in a room, close the door, lock the door, make sure there's no distractions, you don't have any pets bothering you, or anybody living in the same house or apartment bothering you. They know that you're working and you can 100% focus in talking to your customer. If your environment is distracting you and the customer can feel that you're not paying 100% attention, it makes a difference, right? Because people buy from people that they like. And if you're distracted and you're trying to just manage everything around you, then you can't focus on selling. So make sure, no matter what your selling situation is and what your environment is, create a place where you can focus and pay attention and help your prospect. The next tip I have for you is it's important to have the intention to help versus sell. So what does that mean exactly? Well, a lot of salespeople, when they go into a sales meeting, all they really want to do is sell because they only care about, generating commissions for themselves and making more money. Now, that can work, but it's not the right approach because people can feel it when a salesperson is being too pushy. Instead, what you want to do is you want to come from the perspective of helping. So instead of just thinking about yourself and making more commission, think about how is selling your product or service going to change the prospect's life for the better. Because when you come in from that perspective, people can really feel the difference. And if you have a great product and service and you demonstrate how life-changing it can be, well, it's gonna be easy for people to buy whatever it is you're selling. But if you're just saying like, buy, well, people don't wanna buy. They feel like it's weird because you're pushing so hard, and they're thinking to themselves, why is this person pushing so hard? Is something wrong with the product? Is he trying to trick me into buying something I don't need, right? So have the best intentions for your prospect. If the person shouldn't buy your product and service, don't force it on them, let it go. But if you qualify them and you know that if they bought this thing that you are selling will completely be a game changer in their life, well, come in with that intention and people will feel it, and you'll probably start generating more sales because people like to buy from people that they like. Next tip I have for you guys is let the prospect talk 80% of the time, and you yourself will be talking 20% of the time. So what does that mean exactly? Well, in a sales meeting, you wanna make sure the prospect is talking all the time, right? You're asking questions and getting the prospect to tell you about their situation, what their pains are, what their ideal situation is, so you can kind of see how you can help them get from point A to point B. Now, I personally myself have been in sales meetings where I'm the buyer and someone's selling to me, right? And a lot of times what happens is, the salesperson will be talking 80% of the time and barely ask me any questions. And they just tell me, go on and on and on about why they're so great and things like that. But I really don't care about what they have to say, right? Because it's natural for a customer to care about themselves and what they want. So if a salesperson is talking so much, how does that salesperson even know the prospect is qualified to buy the product or service? They don't. They're just pushing without qualifying. So that's why you want to talk 20% of the time, ask questions so that you understand, where this customer is coming from, what their goals are, and if you can help them achieve their goals, it's gonna be an easy sell. But if you're talking all the time and you don't really understand who this person is and why they should buy, well, they're not gonna buy and you're gonna wonder why. But if you're asking questions, you know exactly why they don't buy. And if they don't buy, you can ask more questions to see, what are these objections and if you can overcome them. Now, if you can overcome them, great, you get more sales. But if you can't, you learn and you understand what type of person is not a good fit for your product and service, and you take that information and you go into your next sales meeting more equipped to actually close more deals. And speaking of objections, the next tip I have for you guys is to have a backup plan. So no matter who you're talking to and what kind of sales meeting you're gonna go into, what your product or service is, you always need a backup plan because you will not get yes 100% of the time. People are gonna say no for different reasons, right? So if you know the common objections for why people will say no, you wanna prepare that ahead of time, right? So that when someone tells you that objection, you already have an answer ready to go to overcome it. But if you don't prepare at all and you don't, write down or memorize what these objections are ahead of time, well, you're gonna be freestyling it every time you go into a meeting. And it's kind of difficult because yes, if you freestyle it, sometimes you might get it right and you overcome the objection, but sometimes you might fumble on your words because it's your first time, pitching your product in a certain way to overcome that objection. And if it's not good enough, they don't buy. So whatever common objections that you get, write them all down. And then when you come across a customer that has an objection, you already know what to say and what to do to get over that objection and get them to buy. For example, if you're selling, let's say, social media marketing services, right? And you're selling to a brick and mortar store that doesn't do online sales, that brick and mortar store might just say like, hey, this is not really something I'm interested in. And then, that's a common objection, right? So you could say something like, pretty interesting. So it doesn't seem like you want to generate more sales online and you want to solely rely on brick and mortar for your business. Is that right? And then the prospect will be like, I didn't say that. Like they start realizing how much of a big opportunity they're missing on the online world and generating online sales, and you start bringing up the conversation again and you start handling those objections, right? So that's only possible when you think deeply about why people are coming up with these objections and how you can, say the perfect line to handle these objections to get the conversation going again, and then get them to really think about, using your product or service and whatever it is. And the final tip I have for you guys is you want to always have the next step in mind, meaning, what is your call to action? What do you want to happen at the end of a meeting, right? So in your first meeting, if you have a multi-stage sales process where you need multiple meetings, if you do the first one and that's just to qualify the prospect, you wanna make sure that at the end of the meeting, you know what's gonna happen. You don't wanna leave it at, oh, I'll call you back, or, let's be in touch. You wanna say, okay, hey, look, seems like you're really interested in our products and services. Seems like you have real pain that we can solve, and that's cool. What I wanna do for our next meeting is actually schedule a demonstration where I can show you how we solve your pains in this particular way, and then you schedule the meeting from there. So you kind of see what I'm doing. It's like it's a natural transition from the first meeting to the next. Or if your goal is to close them on the first call, you need the perfect sales script to close on the first call, right? You never want to leave it up to chance and freestyle it. You always need to have the next step in mind. So when the prospect, and if you want to schedule another meeting with a prospect, that prospect has to know exactly what they are getting the next time they are meeting you, because if it's not clear, and if you're just saying that, hey, we should just have another meeting, they're not gonna take the meeting because there's no real reason to. So you have to clearly share with them why you need the next step and what exactly needs to happen in that next step. And so with that said, those are gonna be my 5 phone sales tips that you can use right away to start increasing your chances of success. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And let me know in the comments which sales tip resonated most with you, and whether or not you feel it's applicable in your everyday life. And if you want to check out more videos on sales, make sure you check out my other videos on this screen. So with that said, my name is Patrick Dang, and I will see you guys in the next one.